Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another speed build for the Disney Save. Today, we have a brand new build for Willow Creek. There's a lot to say in a very short video, so I'm going to try to get everything across to you guys as quickly as possible. This is brand new. I kind of came up with this as like a last minute idea because I have been rearranging this area in particular for my new version of Willow Creek. Off to the right, you're going to see Mama Odie's treehouse. Now, I'm not going to be doing another speed build for that build. If you want to go see it, go down in my Disney Save playlist. It is going to be probably about halfway through. I did a second renovation of Willow Creek, I think a couple years ago now, and I added in Mama Odie's treehouse, but it previously was located at a different location in Willow Creek. And the idea once I added in Tiana's Bayou Adventure was to bring all of the Bayou themed lots together into one neighborhood. That way all the trees, the plants can look like sort of cohesive, and it's going to flow a lot better on the map. Now, when I moved Mama Odie's treehouse, I moved it to a lot that had a little bit more room, and it did get some minor renovations and things like that. If you want to see what I actually did to Mama Odie's treehouse, there's two ways. Number one, you can pledge to my Patreon at the Atlantean or up tier, and that was like a bonus post that I did this month, kind of showing off some of the new changes and things. But if you don't want to do that, you can just wait a little bit because I'm working on a compilation video where I go over some of like the mini renovations and changes for Willow Creek. So you will still get to see it regardless. We're just going to go back to it in a little bit, if that makes sense. I have one other Bayou themed lot that is going to end up going into this neighborhood that was already kind of pre-existing in the save. And I'm not going to talk about that today either because that's actually going to be probably the next video that you guys see. And then that left this lot, which was empty. And as you can see, it was formerly the lot that housed Tiana's palace. It's not a huge lot, and I really wasn't sure what I was going to do with this, but ultimately I knew I wanted to stick with the Bayou theming. I knew I probably wanted this to be Princess and the Frog rather than any of the other movies that I'm keeping in Willow Creek. And by the way, some of you commented and were a little bit worried because I was mentioning all the movies that are in Willow Creek, and I did not mention Dumbo, which was a mistake. Dumbo is staying in Willow Creek. Dumbo is getting pretty much no changes. There are some little things that I'm going to be working on that I just haven't explained yet because we're still kind of working on Princess and the Frog, but I wanted to clarify that. So I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do here. I knew I didn't have a lot of space. I knew that I wanted to stick with the Bayou theming if possible. And I think that in the back of my head, I really wanted to do something specifically a little bit more for Ray and maybe Evangeline. That was the idea kind of in the back of my head. I put Princess and the Frog on yesterday, rewatched all of the Bayou scenes, and came up with this. So I'm calling it Belle Evangeline, which is Ray's song in the movie. I do use music as like the names for locations very often, and it is based on pretty much all of the Bayou scenes from Princess and the Frog, but more specifically, right before they find Mama Odie, Ray sings this song, and he tells the story of Evangeline, and Tiana and Naveen dance on a lily pad together, and it's kind of one of their big connecting moments in the film that you realize there's a little bit more there between the two characters. Tiana gets to dance for the first time. Right before that, Naveen helps her cook for the first time, and it is a really big, like, pivotal changing moment in the film. And it's a beautiful scene. It leads to a lot of the things that happen later, and it's also right before they meet Mama Odie. Like, Mama Odie ends up meeting them pretty much at this location. So having it in the Disney Save as a lot right next to Mama Odie's treehouse just kind of helped make the whole thing feel really right. And I got really fixated on the idea of using the lily pads. I watched them dance on the lily pads and thought to myself, wouldn't it be so cool if I could make a lily pad dance floor? And then that's when I realized I had something. I knew kind of the direction that I wanted to go. And this is a little bit of a weird lot because essentially what I was going to originally do was kind of make like a bayou park and just have it be like a general park or a national park and have more water, more of the swampiness, more of the same sort of plants, and then have some little references to Princess and the Frog. But I wanted to take it a step further, and instead I decided that we would do this as a lounge. Now, lounges in the Sims 4 are a little bit more focused on music as like the theming of the lot type, which really fits in perfectly with Princess and the Frog. And I do have another lounge in Willow Creek, but it is a Dumbo lounge, and it is themed so drastically differently than this one. This one is set up more like it has a stage with a band that could do live performances. Each of the little round lily pads on the bottom around the big lily pad are all dance floors, and you could just picture like swaying on the lily pads and dancing to different types of music around the stage, which is the larger lily pad that I'm building towards the back. So I felt comfortable doing another lounge, and I think it's actually very appropriate considering Princess and the Frog and the theming and the music and how important and integral it is to the film. It makes sense to include like just a little bit more of it here. So then of course we've got the Bayou inspiration, lots of the same plants that I've sort of been using across the different lots in this area, those bayou trees, the same like shrubbery and those kinds of things. But I did want to pull out some little references to Princess and the Frog that are a little bit more specific on this lot and do more of a shout out to Evangeline specifically. Now, spoilers but not spoilers, Evangeline is a star in the sky that Ray is in love with and he thinks is a firefly. So I really wanted to do star theming on this lot as well by adding lots of little like firefly lighting, star lighting, moons and stars lighting pretty much everywhere. I did this in one of two ways. Under the awnings of each of the larger lily pads that I'm building, I did there's like this new sky print wallpaper that you can use, and in Love Struck we got these very intricate tiny little fairy lights that can go on walls, they can go on the ceilings, and they look like little stars. I actually use them quite a bit over on my Lion King lots for similar reasons and theming. So when you're under the big lily pads, which is the big main one in the back, but I'm actually going to build two smaller ones, or I would say medium-sized ones in the front that's like the seating area for the lounge. When you're underneath those, you're underneath like a set of stars, and then I used a specific light from Werewolves that has a moon with one single star next to it as the lighting for the lot at night. It helps make it look very like natural and greenery, and even though I had to use realistic human everyday objects here, like the bar, like the piano, like the seating, and I couldn't keep everything to being just like plants in the bayou, it still is all covered in a really graceful sort of way, and it blends in really well, which was the goal. There is also those firefly stickers hidden pretty much everywhere on the lot, the little alligator crocodile stickers in some of the pond bodies of water that I have on the lot. Lots and lots of little references. There's frogs everywhere. There's little tiny like frog stickers kind of tucked away and hidden out underneath some of the vines and the greenery. And then at the end of the video, something that you guys will see specifically, there is a scene in the film where Tiana teaches Naveen how to cook, and she makes swamp gumbo, I think is what she calls it, and she makes it in a pumpkin, and he is chopping up mushrooms for her. So I actually kind of like miniature recreated that scene around one of the trees on the very back corner of the lot. It's like kind of one of those hidden Mickey situations. Like you'll see it sometimes when you're moving around and you might be like, oh, what is that? That's so weird. Just like a random pumpkin and some mushrooms and some little frogs, but it means something. It usually always does. All of those moments and all of those like leading up to this location in particular on the lily pad kind of help build their relationship and create that connection between the two of them. And something that I think is really interesting about their story in particular is that they really go through something like kind of traumatic together, like being turned into animals and going through this whole adventure where you don't really know if you're ever going to come out of it, and how that must bond them as well as like two people. Because obviously this is a reoccurring issue in like the Disney princess franchise, but characters will meet each other and kind of quickly fall in love. But I almost feel like it kind of makes a little bit more sense in their love story, because it's like an unforgettable adventure that the two of them experience like pretty much exactly together at the same time. And the way that must bond you is gotta be everlasting, in my opinion. So what this ends up turning out to be is a beautiful bayou themed lily pad lounge that I absolutely love. And in real life, if this existed, I would be obsessed with it. It's giving a little bit of fairy garden. I love the moons and stars aspect of it. There are two seating areas that are just like required lounge seating areas kind of towards the front of the lot. There are two ponds, there are the frogs, there's the big lily pad in the back that is the main stage, and then those three smaller ones surrounding the stage are each dance floors. And I just love the way that it turned out. It is so small. I wish I had a little bit more room to expand on what this could be, but I think it does enough for what it is, and it was a really interesting way to like use all of this theming in something that makes sense for like the bayou and is useful in the save file. like this is something that people will actually want to use and play with, which was always my goal. And then if you're a big Princess and the Frog fan like I am, you're gonna notice all those little hidden shout outs around, and I don't know, there's just something very ethereal about it. And overall, it was a better usage of the theme that I was going for without just making it a park, which I think can sometimes be a little bit boring and repetitive, and I don't like to do a ton of parks unless the park has a different purpose, if that makes sense. Like sometimes I'll do a park that can double as a wedding venue, and I do think a national park and like a regular park can be very different, or you have playgrounds, which are also parks, but I think serve a different purpose, and none of that really fit into what I was trying to do here. So it was going to be like a very greenery and just pondy sort of park, which exists a lot in real life, and we do sort of need here and there throughout the save, but maybe a little boring. So I wanted to just step it up a notch and do something so much more interesting and fun. And the lot does require a bar. I had to use, unfortunately, I probably wouldn't have in this instance, but it is a required piece, so I kind of integrated that into like the back part near the little stage and band area. There is a bathroom on this lot. It is downstairs. I hid it underneath so it didn't like disturb the prettiness of everything else that's going on here. Unfortunately, it is just one of those things, like you have to have it, so I will occasionally tuck something like that underground, and I think that was probably the best choice to do so. I think all of the characters in the movie, Ray and all the Fireflies and all of his little family members would be so happy and love it here. This would be such a great location for like him to show up and play with him as well. He is a townie in the save currently. I am considering adding in Evangeline as like a sim, but I don't really know what to do with her. I would want her to be like very ethereal, long, white flowing hair, maybe a ghost, maybe, I don't know, something kind of special and magical. If you have any ideas, let me know. If you think that's something kind of cool that maybe I should add in as something in addition to Ray's household so that he's not like a solo townie, let me know what your thoughts are on that. Sometimes I like to leave those because like it's not a character that's ever shown. She is quite literally a star. She's probably the North Star, in fact. And when Ray at the end of the movie joins her in the sky, they become like the two stars that look very, very eerily similar to Peter Pan, which I thought was such a nice touch on the film. It is like just brilliantly done in my opinion. But as far as adding her, unsure. You guys let me know what you think of all of that down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed my little lily pad Bayou Lounge. I know that was a quick one today, but there is so much more to come. We've got one other in this neighborhood, and then we're going to be doing some other things in the world, other Princess and the Frog stuff, and some updating and things like that. Let me know what you thought of everything in the comments section down below, and if you'd like to support the Disney Save on Patreon, you can do so by clicking the link in my description box down below or the one at the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will talk to you all in the next one.